from 52. The kick wobbles, but makes it through.
And how about the Seahawks? It was, well, I must say, I'll be honest with you, it was a very ugly victory, but sometimes you'd rather have the ugly victory than a beautiful loss. And yep, the Seahawks barely squeaked it out against the Arizona Cardinals, 23-20, thanks in part to a huge clutch field goal by Jason Myers, redeeming himself for missing a previous field goal attempt that could have actually put the game out of reach much more previously. So, Epic C Films, how are you doing today before we even get started?
I am doing okay.
Doing okay. That's great. Well, it's good. I mean, we're doing more. We should be doing more than okay because the Seahawks have gotten their win. The Mariners, if you're a Mariners fan, they have secured their division and a bye week, so they can skip the wild card round. So things are going pretty good in Seattle so far. And Epic C Films, I believe that you actually watched most of the game. I only watched, I'll be honest, I only watched kind of the second half of the game while simultaneously covering the Mariners game. So we're going to review the game as much as we can. We have the highlights both on our ends. So we're going to be watching the highlights and we will react to everything on it. I'll tell you when to hit pause and all of that. But before we get started, we got an ad by the great SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RoofTopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. So it's the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals, and we're just reacting to the play-by-play. Now here's Kyler Murray. He was going for that first down, and yep, it was a nice little first down, but we didn't really get the whole context of the game because these are just highlights. And this is a 3rd and 7 that we are seeing. And Kyler Murray, he is going to go for a big pass, and that is incomplete. He drops the pass, and that should have been an open one, and somehow they didn't convert on that. Now it's Sam Darnold. He is going to Kenneth Walker, who's actually been pretty effective for the Seahawks. He gets that first down and then some. And wow, what a run by Kenneth Walker on that drive. And now they're just randomly going to the defensive alert. Pretty random time to go to that. All right. Now it's going to be on the 42. Sam Darnold's going to pass, and he goes to Horton, who's actually been quite a bit of a factor. And he almost got all the way to that first down on that. And I think that might actually be a first down. Nope, it was a 4th and 1, so they went for it on 4th down. Zach Charbonnet. Oh, no, they actually did not get the first down and hit pause. So what do you think of that little drive? So first it was Kyler Murray missing a wide open guy, or the wide receiver just was in miscommunication. And actually, let's go over that miscommunication. Where did you see out of Kyler Murray just completely blowing that first drive?
Well, that's Kyler Murray. I have not seen Kyler Murray as the closer or as the person that finishes the drive a lot of times. I feel like something happens to him, I feel like that's kind of been his problem.
And what did you see from the 4th down? Like, did you think that was a necessary one?
So I understand why the Seahawks went for it on 4th down. It makes a lot of sense and stuff like that. Because if you believe in your defense so strongly, if you're over the 50-yard line, you can always risk it.
Yeah, and then it unfortunately just didn't work out. I mean, I think Zach Charbonnet was the right guy to go to. He tends to be that 3rd down, 4th down guy. Mm-hmm. But the Cardinals just happened to anticipate, and that's why they were able to stop Zach Charbonnet. So, So basically, yeah, nothing happening. All right, hit play button. 3, 2, 1, play. And now Kyler Murray has like that man in motion. And now Murray is going to go for a short pass. That was batted away. And that was, I think that was what's his name? Maffei or something like that. Mm-hmm. And now we got Kyler Murray going for a pass. He's getting out of the pocket. And that is picked off. And that is Kobe Bryant with the interception. And now the Seahawks have the ball, and the ball is out. The ball is out. But who gets the ball on this one? I wonder what it was. I think the Cardinals got it, but I think they're trying to review if he already hit the ground. Looks like Kobe Bryant had already hit the ground, so I don't think keep the ball anyway.
No, it was a turnover.
It was a turnover.
Yeah,
So
Arizona
the
got the ball
Cardinals got
back.
the ball back?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's all, and like Kobe Bryant was trying to slide on that too.
Yeah. Ball
Oh
security.
my. Oh wow. Ball security seems to have been an issue for the Seahawks throughout this season thus far. Yeah, Sam Darnold, he dropped one, and then oh boy. Yep, it belongs to the Arizona Cardinals. Now hit pause. So what did you see on that interception? Like Kobe Bryant made a great interception, and all of a sudden he just loses the ball.
It's ball security. That's all. That's the only problem. And also, it's your teammate getting in your way. The teammate was there that kind of caused you to change directions a little bit too, which you got to pay attention to where your teammate is at and where you're at versus the defense.
Yeah, pretty sad. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Something that they can't afford to do going forward. And now hit play. Yeah, Kobe Bryant definitely lost that ball on that one, which is why the call stands. And then Kyler Murray gets another chance. I can Twitter X, people were saying this game was drunk. And wow, this team was like prematurely celebrating too. Look at that. And then Mike McDonald's like, hey, stop it. So now they have to get back and focus. I don't think Mike McDonald likes those celebrations. They're going to the running back, and that's going to be a first down right there. And a lot of talking going on. Now it's 3rd and 9, and Kyler Murray's going for a pass, and that's going to be. He gets down, finally gets down. Some tackling problems for the Seahawks. That gets it to the 10, but it's going to be 4th down. And I think they're going to go. And I think when they elected for the field goal, and they did. So luckily, the Seahawks were able to stop them on that drive and hit pause. What'd you think of the Seahawks on that drive? From what you remember, what did you remember from that drive after the fumble?
So after the fumble and stuff like that, it's like I always say, if you can stop someone when they're in that like area of the field, you can actually get them to field goals. That's a really big deal because you always have the opportunity to come back and score a touchdown. You always have the opportunity to outscore them because it's not about it's about keeping them out of the end zone as long as possible, and that gives you
That's
more
something they're
opportunities.
able to do.
Yeah. And when your defense is that good to step up and stop people from getting in the end zone that early in the game, that makes it easier on your offense.
That is true play.
Mm-hmm.
And now Darnold is fake passing, and it goes to number 18, and that gets a first down right there as we are reviewing it. And now Sam Darnold hands it to Kenneth Walker for a 2nd and 1, and he eludes it, and he gets a first down, and then some. And Kenneth Walker's been having a fantastic game, and he gets a huge first down on that one. Kenneth Walker has been quite that elusive running back that we saw from 2022, and it's good to see him actually contributing this season so far. And now it's going to be no running back on this. Kenneth Walker's actually on the wide receiver. And he's going to, that looked like it was nearly picked off, but that went to Cooper Kupp making a big catch to make it 1st and 10. It's going to be, now they're pretty much at the red zone. And then Sam Darnold goes for a big pass, and that is caught. And that is a touchdown for the Seahawks. That is A.J. Barner with the touchdown and hit pause. And what did you see from that drive? What was like the key of the drive that you saw on that?
It was a good balanced approach between running and between passing.
Yeah, I like that Kenneth Walker is able to elusively run. He seems to have that explosiveness back that we really haven't seen in like the last nearly 3 years. And a nice pass to AJ Barner. Sam Darnold made some key passes, so that was a good drive on that one. And now hit play. Yeah, they're looking at AJ Barner, and he had a nice route running in there, and he got the easy touchdown right there. Big guy too. Sam Darnold, nice pass. And now it's going to be to Kyler Murray. He's on a 2nd and 7. I wonder what happened on here. And now it's a fake handoff. And then Murray goes down with a sack. And I noticed throughout this game, the Seahawks really did get to Kyler Murray as much as they could. This is 3rd and 15. What happens here? Murray's going for a run, and he's got to go out of bounds. He doesn't really get much on that, so that means they're forced to punt. So nice sack on them. And that gives Sam Darnold the ball. And that gives up to Zach Charbonnet. Doesn't really get much of that. But there was a flag, and I wonder what this flag was about. I have no idea. It was now in 2nd and 12, and then Sam Darnold, he goes down. He gets sacked on that play. Not great protection for Sam Darnold right there, even though they've been protecting Sam Darnold pretty well. So they lose the ball. And then Kyler Murray gets a nice pass, and that is caught. That is Wilson with the catch. And now we're at 3rd and 7, going close to the 50. And now Kyler Murray's going for a pass, goes for it, and that's going to be caught. The tight end gets it. That's going to be a 1st down. And they are starting to grind it through. Now Kyler Murray going for a big pass. That's going to be caught. And they're going into the red zone. They're challenging them once again. And I wonder how the Seahawks got out of this one. And that's going to be caught. Oh, and that's intercepted. So that's how they got away with it. And yeah, so first it was a big pass and hit pause. So first Marvin Harrison caught the ball, and then he just let it slip out of his hands, and that led to an easy interception by the Seahawks. What did you see from that drive and that interception?
The Seahawks throughout the game, I felt like got to Kyler Murray and got to their players better. Throughout the course of the game, for most of the game, the Seahawks were playing better defense than Arizona. That's what I saw.
And yeah, at least for that one. And yeah, I mean, Marvin Harrison, Jr., you got to protect that ball, which he failed to do so.
Marvin Harrison Jr. has not been good since he came into the league. He's had some bad hands.
Stone hands, to say the least. He looks like he does have small hands too. He does not. He's definitely not like his father, like Marvin Harrison Sr. All right, hit play. So they're showing the replay of him just not protecting the ball. That's why Jones the 4th was able to get that interception. And now they're at the 50 or at the 49, and Sam Darnold to pass, and he gets a big one, and that was to your favorite one, Jake Bobo.
Yes, there was a Bobo sighting in this game, and I love that that's in the highlights, the Bobo sighting.
Yeah, Jake Bobo sighting, but there was a flag on the offense, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, it was for taunting. That's what it was.
That was a different play. That was a Kenneth Walker play earlier. Watch this.
Yeah, which was very uncharacteristic.
Because the guy pulls his leg, and then he points the ball, and then he throws the ball at the guy.
Seems a little bit overreacting on the. Oh, and then he threw. I think where they got him was when they threw the ball. He threw the ball. He just tossed it towards unsportsmanlike, which is why they kind of did not score. Which makes it, and then they stop that 4th down again, which means they have to punt again. Make it 1st and 10. And now here's Darnold. He's getting out of the pocket, goes for a big pass, and that one was caught. That was number 18, and he's been making some big plays in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks are doing all the little things. I think that was Arroyo with the catch. Now here's Darnold. He does a fake toss, and he's going to run this one, and he'll get the 1st down, and then some. Big run on that one to get to the 30.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to do on the 34. He's going to toss to Charbonnet, and he gets it. He made a big run on that one to make it a 1st down. And you kind of like that Charbonnet-Kenneth Walker combo. And the man in motion and gives it to Charbonnet, and he fights it and gets it in for the touchdown. And take me to that drive. What did you see on that?
One thing I've noticed from Sam Darnold that you would be surprised by, and a lot of people would be surprised by, is how much more legs and how much more he can use his legs than you think he has. You think he's a pocket passer, but I've noticed he's really good at moving to the right. He has a really good moving to the right game. And he also showed today that on that drive that he actually has the ability to, if he needs to, step up and run. He's not fast, but he can run.
And he made a nice pass to Arroyo, too. That was a huge key pass.
Yeah, so that was a big thing if you saw those two plays where Darnold used his legs, where you thought he wouldn't use his legs because he's more of a pocket passer, but he's actually showing his range.
He really has. And how about Zach Charbonnet just being resilient and just forcing his way to get to that touchdown? All right, hit play. Yeah, that was a very nice touchdown by Zach Charbonnet. That was definitely needed. And he was initially stopped, and they thought they weren't going to get him. And then and credit to the offensive linemen and the other receivers for trying to push them in. And now it's back to Arizona. Kyler Murray's going to pass, and he gets sacked. And they got to him. They really got to Kyler Murray today.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyler Murray, how many sacks did he even suffer? He suffered 6 sacks. And now, Darnold, he lost the ball, but at least they got the ball back. And this is now going into the third quarter, by the way. And this is where I really started to really pay more attention because that's when I got home from Don't Quit Your Day Job. And I was covering the Mariners game at the same time. But luckily, the offensive lineman was able to save it. Actually, it was an offensive lineman. And then Darnold was working on a 3-and-1. And I wonder what happened on this one. Darnold was going for a pass, and that went to A.J. Barner. That get past the 50. And now we're 1st and 10. Darnold is trying to scramble. Nope, he goes down and gets sacked again. And he was sacked 3 times in this game, which is actually not bad because we saw Geno Smith and Russell Wilson get sacked a lot more than we were used to. Then it's 3rd and 11. Darnold for a big pass, hopefully, and not really much, but I think that was warranted for a field goal. I think that was 4th and 2. Jason Myers, he gets that for the field goal. So pause. What did you think of that drive? I mean, from what I saw, it was Sam Darnold did get sacked, but he was able to make some key plays to at least move the chains a little bit to eventually at least get the field goal to make it 17-3.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, is the Seahawks, and their big thing is that if you get field goals and you keep getting points on the board, you have a better chance to stay in the game. And as you move the chains, or as you move the ball down the field, one of the good things about moving the ball down the field is it takes up more time in the game. One of the things that we had problems with a few weeks ago, was that we couldn't stay on our offense on the field long. When you can't keep your offense on the field long, you have less opportunities to score, and you struggle through the game. And it makes it harder for you to win the game.
There you go. And now we're at 3rd and 14 for Kyler Murray, and I wonder what he did on this. He scrambles out of the pocket, goes for a big rushing pass, and incomplete. And it looked like, based on this pacing of the game, it looked like the Seahawks were just going to just flat out embarrass the Cardinals. But then the offense just started to stall. And yeah, that one was like nearly picked off, which that became a 4th down. And then they just gave the ball away too quickly. And then Kyler Murray he went to Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, that was Tariq Woolen. He's been giving up quite a bit of big plays too. So the crazy thing is, I think he was a Pro Bowler back in 22, so he actually was considered to be one of the better players on the defense. And Kyler Murray just missed a really big, embarrassing pass. But that did lead to a 57-yard field goal, especially in the more domed stadium. It's kind of had that kind of chance, and that just went right through it. Now we got Darnold going for a pass on 3rd and 6. I got it to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he was actually making some pretty big plays. We got 2nd and 10. Got Darnold over to Jigba, but he was like, dude, just move. Now 2nd and 6. And Kenneth Walker's going for a big run. And he gets it nearly to the red zone. But they somehow just weren't able to convert. Oh, that got pulled back. Oh, man, that was a holding on Jackson Smith and Jigba. Kind of killed the drive right there. And then that was a 3rd down. Kenneth Walker just got pulled back. And This is where they were trying to just really eat the clock, but I think they were trying to eat the clock a little bit too early. Jason Myers hits a field goal, thankfully, to make it 20-6. And my thoughts on this was, as I noticed when it got to the fourth quarter, they weren't passing as much. They started just running the ball. But the problem I had with that was they were trying to eat the clock too soon. I think they should have tried to make some more big plays and try to like run up that score. I mean, what was your thoughts on? Like, did you agree that you think they were trying being a bit too run happy?
No.
Well, what was your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it was that their offense didn't start. The things in this game towards the end, and there were some things. It was defensive and it was penalties. It was penalties and defense that kept Arizona in this game. It wasn't the offense. I don't think the offense played bad. I mean, yeah, but game on the offense.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem I did have though was they were running the ball quite a bit, and there were moments where they should have just tried to make that one little pass to try to move that chain to eat more time. But rather than they were just doing some too many running plays, especially for a game that has 9 minutes and 33 seconds left in the game. But that's just me.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is last year we passed the ball too much. This year we're going to the run game more because that's kind of the philosophy that the coach wants.
Yeah, but I want a more balanced offense, but maybe I'm just being a hippo. But anyways, that made it 20-6, and I think this is where Cardinals started scoring, and then Kyler Murray, he just using those legs as usual, and he got really big yards going to the 40. He can still run. He is quite a runner. And then Kyler Murray going for pass. And here's a big one. But that was going to be a pass interference. That's why they got the advantage. That was Tariq Woolen. And Woolen has not been that good at all this season. Like, they're giving up big plays against the 49ers, and now he's doing it again to the Cardinals. A huge penalty. And now here's 2nd and goal. And now big pass. And caught by Marvin Harrison Jr. And finally, he at last makes a catch. And what do you think of that drive by the Cardinals? I mean, do you think that it was on the Seahawks giving up big plays, or you think that was more of the penalty that didn't really help, or maybe like a combination of both, in my opinion?
It wasn't that the Arizona played better in the second half. It was the Seahawks defense played worse.
They just kept throwing it away. I mean, what did you think of that interception? What did you think of that, not interception, that pass interference by Tariq Woolen?
That was a problem by Tariq Woolen. The other one was Devin Witherspoon didn't get up high enough to block the ball.
Yeah, and they're showing that replay.
That was two things right there that caused a lot of issues.
And Kobe Bryant was kind of a bit lackadaisical too. Like, he could have maybe done some help defense there, but he really didn't. Yeah, Devin Witherspoon, he really just missed the mark on that one. Now it's going to be 5:41. I remember they were making a drive on this one, and it was Kenneth Walker. See, I didn't like that. It was just like a running play on 2nd down. I would have maybe try to go for a pass or maybe a little bit more of an elusive run. And I think this one was the big pass. This was 3rd and 6. Darnold was going for a big pass, and that was to Jackson Smith and Jigba. He made big plays in this game. I got to give him that. I mean, what was his stat line when he did it? He was 79 yards.
He had a catch in the first half, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
But he's been very impactful for the Seahawks. And then, before that field goal miss, which, by the way, Jason Myers missed that field goal. I noticed on 3rd down, they made that running play, which I was heavily against. Now, if you're on a 3rd down and you're kind of on a 9 or a 10, would you run? I mean, and the field goal range is at 53. So do you think they should have passed, or do you think they were fine throwing it or just running the ball?
They already knew they were in field goal range, and if you believe in your kicker, you don't worry about it.
I just think 53 yards was a bit too much, and Seahawks do have a weird history of being in Arizona. Remember when Stephen Hauschka missed a field goal that he should have gotten, which caused the Seahawks to tie the game back in 2016? The Seahawks have
won the last, I think, 8-9 meetings now against Arizona. So that was years ago.
Yeah, so you think
Seahawks have had the upper hand advantage in the series.
So you think I'm reading too much into it?
Yeah.
Well, they missed the field goal, and then this was the final drive of the Cardinals. So you think that was completely on Jason Myers for missing it?
Yeah, the game basically got close and got more stressful for some people because of Jason Myers' missed field goal.
And then Kyler Murray made
that's the thing that stands out the most to most people.
Oh,
even
this
though
was
the
a fourth
defense caused
down.
things.
Now we're at fourth down, and then this was a very critical play. This could have actually ended the game. And Kyler Murray going for a pass, and that was caught. That was a one-hander by Wilson. That was either like a missed coverage or that was just a very lucky catch. And then throw was not even that good either. And then 2nd and 2. And Murray, of course, does he do? Oh, nope, he goes down in a sack, and that made it 3rd and 9.
Yeah, the Seahawks. So they played 53 times in this rivalry, and the Seahawks have won 30, and Arizona has won 22, and they've had one tie. So they have a slight advantage.
And they got first down again. Now this was 3rd and 5, and now there was a big pass, and that was caught by Marvin Harrison Jr., and they did catch it. And then this was where they would score 2nd and goal. Wide open guy running back, and he gets the touchdown, and they just couldn't get to finish that tackle. And I thought this game was going to go over to overtime and hit the pause button. I mean, did you think that this was going to be overtime?
I've been seeing some crazy things happen in the last 30 seconds of games lately. So you never know if the game's going to go to overtime. You can't guarantee it based on that, because I've seen the Giants game a couple weeks ago. That was a big one where Russell made a huge pass and they thought the game was over. And then the field goal unit came out and made a 60-something yarder. Kickers can make longer field goals nowadays. So anything is possible. As long as you get within 65 yards, you can attempt a field goal.
I guess so.
So that's all you need.
Only 28 seconds left. This was where I was really nervous, but we're going to see a play that it was very critical. It was a big error by the Arizona Cardinals, and it pretty much did cost them the game, and we're about to see why. And you're going to see why as well.
Yep.
They were going for a cute little pause. So they were going for a cute little squib kick, but the problem is the ball has to go beyond the 20 in the Seahawks' own territory. And guess what happened?
It went to the 19.
Went to the 19.
No,
so had it gone,
it was the 21.
So had it gone to the 20 or the 19, that would have been okay. So basically, it was as bad as kicking it out of bounds. It was basically the same thing. So then Darnold, he was on 2nd and 10. He went for a pass, and that was caught by Njigba. And Njigba, all those 4 catches were very critical, and they were like, "Oh crap, we got to call a timeout," because this was where I think he went out of bounds too.
He went out of bounds. They reviewed the play. He went out of bounds, and they gave the Seahawks back their timeout. That was critical.
Yeah, that was good.
Play.
Yeah. But the other problem I had after this drive was they were just trying to milk the clock, and I thought they should have gone for a little bit more yards because Jason Myers had previously missed that field goal. So I thought
do you want to risk it by throwing an interception?
And by the way, this was a 52-yarder, and then Jason Myers got it right through, just kind of barely, but they got the kick and the field goal, and it was good. So the Seahawks went to 3-1, and then we'll go the box score. So Sam Darnold went 242 yards. He actually had a pretty good game. Quarterback, a rating of 111, 1 touchdown. Kenneth Walker had 81 yards, pretty good game. Charbonnet, pretty underwhelming on the yards per carry, but he still got that touchdown. And Jackson Smith and Jigba made really big catches, 4 receptions for 79 yards. And I mean, Sam Darnold has a lot of guys to throw to. It's not going to be like the combination that we were used to of Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf. Now it's all these guys doing all the little things, like Torrey Horton he made a big play. Bobo made a big catch. Cooper Kupp is just making the big catches because he's got soft hands. Elijah Arroyo made some big catches. So it looks like this wide receiver core, they're not necessarily known for the big name receivers except in Jigba and Cooper Kupp, but they are known for all those little guys doing all the little things to add up to Seahawks victories. And Epic Sea Films, take me your thoughts to this overall game.
So in this overall game, the Seahawks at the beginning of the game, especially for most of the first 2.5 quarters, they looked pretty dominant. Wasn't that they looked dominant? It's just they controlled the game. It was their game, and basically what happened was it was their game to lose because they had the advantage going into most of the game. 2 to 3 quarters in, they were just dominating this game. And so as you play games, one thing you have to realize in games and realize when you're dealing with things is the fact of the matter is how do you finish strong? You know, you could play three-fourths of a game great, but if you don't finish strong, you give the game back. And so that's the thing about it is that you have to do the little things, finish things. Play the whole 60 minutes of the game. Don't just play 45 minutes of the game.
I would say that I think what could have done better was I think the Seahawks could have clock managed their game better. I think towards the end in that fourth quarter, they were trying to run the ball too much. Like they were just playing way too conservatively, where they just kept running and running and running with some occasional big passes by Sam Darnold. But I would have liked to see them try to at least try to focus on scoring one more time. So the game could have been out of reach, but instead we had to play in the Seahawks had to play in a situation where they did win at the skin of their teeth once again, and I think that's what I'm thinking. But do you have any other big keys to the game from this
Yes.
game? What do we got?
Yes. The thing at the end of the day is it's not at the end of the day, a win's a win. You can't take that away from a team. The Seahawks overall, they had control of the game. I would say 2.5, 3/4 in, they were controlling that game like 3/4 in, and they had the uphill advantage. And so to me, I felt the Seahawks, they look better. Like even their offense looks better than last year. Like I would say because of the fact of how they're running the ball more, how they're passing it more, even though they do pass it a lot to Jackson Smith and Jigba, they need to find another person to step up, which they are trying to. They're trying to find that second receiver. And so I think the Seahawks are being a little bit more balanced in their approach to their offense. I think that when I'm with Sam Darnold, I see this quarterback as I feel like he's making less mistakes. I feel like he seems a little bit more calm. You don't feel as like, oh, something bad is going to happen as much as you still feel like with the Geno Smith. You feel like Sam Darnold is like, oh yeah, if I'm going to stay in here, I'm going to do my job, and his job is to be a game manager. And I feel like he does that he's doing that very well this year. I see him as the guy who kind of controls the outside of the game. I think that's what's doing really better. Geno Smith kind of got too emotional sometimes in parts of the game and took that on too much. So does that mess with his mindset and kind of threw him off.
Well, I think that's why I had my issues with Geno Smith, because for someone that does show a lot of emotions, that's where he did feel that pressure so many times, and he had several opportunities to close games, but he just didn't. And Sam Darnold, he got his first game-winning drive at least, so and he did have a chance, at least in the 49ers game. He did put himself in a good position to give the Seahawks a victory, but of course, he just had to run into an offensive lineman where that's why I think that was Abe Lucas, and that's why he fumbled the ball. So I think in retrospect, it wasn't 100% his fault. It's just that it was just a very unfortunate thing. But it looks like so far that Sam Darnold has potential to be one of the more clutch quarterbacks in the NFL. Hence, I'm saying potential, not saying that he is, but he has shown some impressions that he can be a big-time game closer, game-winning drive guy.
Yes. And also in that game, if you wanted to go back to a few other things to note, is that the stars of the game, as you see here, is you had Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, you had Sam Darnold, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those basically four players had the most points this week in this game. Right now, they have the most points, with your star being Marvin Harrison Jr., who had 18.6. But that's what I'm saying is like he played a really good game and stuff like that. So that's one of the big things there. And Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray, they both had Kyler Murray had 16.1 points and Sam Darnold had 16, meaning that Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray did not outplay Sam Darnold. A lot of people think Sam Darnold is a worse quarterback than Kyler Murray, and his stat line, his actual fantasy points are about the same. So you can't say that one guy's better.
Also, the other key part of the game was also that the Seahawks were able to get to Kyler Murray 6 times on the sack, because there's been times where Seahawks had problems getting to him, and also held him to a 73 quarterback rating, even though we shouldn't really look at that too much.
Yeah.
But the only problems I guess they had, they just couldn't stop Kyler Murray at the run. But I mean, he's a guy with legs, so it's like kind of like, what do you expect? And Marvin Harrison Jr., he actually was terrible in the first half, didn't really do much. Second half, he did a lot better this time. Mm-hmm. So he did contribute. I mean, he did contribute to that last drive.
If you just take this at a 50-foot, if you just take this at like a high level and just look at the fantasy scores, the difference of the game would have been the Seahawks defense playing better than the Arizona Cardinals defense. At a big picture level, the offenses didn't really play One didn't really play much better than the other one if you look at overall, but if you look at a high level, defense was a difference maker.
That is true.
And
Well,
that's how we do this in the Seahawks world now. We've done that since Pete Carroll era. We've done that since a long time, over 10 years.
but it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yes, and it's all about, and a lot of times we put more emphasis on our defense, and our defense is the one that keeps us close in the games so we can finish it with offense that basically manages the game.
And defense has actually been playing. I think they've been playing pretty well. I just got to look at the Seahawks schedule and see how well their defense has been throughout this season so far.
One of the
I mean, they
best in
gave
the
up.
league.
They've only given up 20 points once, and that was just out of fluke with the Arizona Cardinals. The 49ers game was kind of a fluky thing, and I want to look at NFL defensive rankings right now for 2025 and see where they're at on the
Fantasy-wise,
defense.
the Vikings are the best. The Seahawks are the second best defense, fantasy-wise.
Well, that's just fantasy, but in total defense so far for 2025, as of now, Seahawks are a bit in that middle of the pack. They say that the Browns have actually the better defense going through week 3.
Wow, they have because fantasy-wise, they're not one of the best. They're like
Well,
six,
right
seven,
now
they're ninth, the Browns for fantasy.
yeah, exactly.
So
But for yards given up, I think this is passing yards. They have actually given up the least passing yards in the league. And then for rushing, let's see how many yards and even on the rushing end, Seahawks are about trying to find the Seahawks name on here. I can't really. They do give up more on the run, but they do make it up by giving up less on the pass.
yeah, but if you notice the Seahawks, you notice the scores of their games so far this year. You notice where they've been. You look at this game. They gave up 20 points this game. They gave up 13 points last game. The Steelers game, they gave up 17, and the 49ers game, they gave up 17. This is the most points they gave up all season long.
Yeah. And yeah, only 20 points was given up. And the other games where the Steelers were pretty much flat. The 49ers did not play a good game. It's just that the Seahawks just lost that game.
Yeah,
So
they gave that game away. And I think that's how I think that's a trend we've noticed with the Seahawks this year is the other team playing better than the Seahawks, or the Seahawks is almost giving things away?
it seems that
Yeah.
they have been giving things away. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. So let's look forward to, because it's going to be quite a bit until the Seahawks are going to be playing, because
10 days.
understand it's going to be 10 days from now. And that's also going to be conflicting. That's going to be October 5th. They are going to be playing. Let me see who they're going to play.
The Tampa
It's
Bay
going to
Buccaneers.
be Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and
It's
there's
a home game for the
there's
Seahawks.
there is a possibility though that game might be moved. It depends when the Mariners are playing. So the Seahawks are probably looking to accommodate for that, so that way they can have all parking spaces accommodated and the scheduling, because the last thing you need is having a playoff game and an NFL game happening at the same time. So I think, depending on what the schedule looks like, maybe the Seahawks game could be flexed into a more evening game, and the Mariners game, it could be like vice versa, but we'll see.
Well, the easier thing is to put the Mariners game at nighttime, and then you start at like 6 o'clock or something.
I think that's what will probably happen, and I would imagine. Let me look at the schedule and see what it does look like.
Yeah.
When I looked at the time slots, for the Mariners, if they are playing, so as of now, they're actually going to be playing the earlier game, but I would think that either the Mariners or the Seahawks are going to work something out with their scheduling, so they make sure that we don't have 100,000 people all in one area in Seattle and plus.
Well, the easiest thing is to move the game to 6 or 7 o'clock at night. The Seahawks game will be over by 4. People will be out of there by 5:30. You're basically it kind of winds down. That'd be the easiest thing to do. Don't move the Seahawks game because it's already scheduled. Just put the Mariners game nighttime. I
guess we'll see, but until then,
unless you want to put the Mariners game super early and have an afternoon, an early morning game.
No, they got to also They also got to cater to the national audience too.
And the national audience, I think the best thing to do would be put that game at night. It's the easiest thing.
I guess so. But the thing is, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, wouldn't you want to you put that game at 6:40 and you're fine?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we're not the scheduling experts, and that's kind of not our business to to really
But
read
that's going to be a
into
big
it.
game next week because Baker Mayfield has been playing good, and the Seahawks aren't the greatest at home lately. So that's kind of what's going on. So that's going to be a huge game because they could pull that game off and start showing that they actually have home dominance again. That would be huge because this season so far they're 1-1 at home, but they have been perfect on the road.
Yeah, which is the weirdest thing about last year before we close this show is that Seahawks were literally red hot on the road, but then at home they were absolutely atrocious.
I think they said they were 8-1. And the other interesting thing about our coach, this is his second year, Mike McDonald. He is now 13-8 starting out. He's one of the best starting out Seahawks coaches in history. I think when it was 20 games, he was tied. I think now he might have the lead. I don't know yet, but I have to look that up. But yeah, he's doing really great.
Let me look it up. So Mike Holmgren in his first 2 seasons, he had 15 wins in his first 2 seasons, and he had Pete Carroll had
Carroll didn't
14
do hot.
wins. He didn't have a hot start. And then
It was
who else?
somebody else. I forgot his name, but it was like
Now, let's look it up real quick before we go.
because they showed the
And-
stat the other day on somewhere.
And while you're looking up the stat, here is a quick membership ad video.
Since
Okay.
2022, I have been building the Rooftop Sports YouTube channel, and I want to thank all of you for your support and engagement. Without all of you, there is no Rooftop Sports. Now, if you would like to take your support to the next level, join my exclusive YouTube membership program for just $5 a month. Get first access to new videos, ad-free content, and exclusive insights from my fantasy sports as I do play many fantasy sports leagues. Plus, follow along with my softball seasons like never before. You also get access to my own emojis to use to comment on my videos and my live streaming shows. For just $5 per month, become a bigger part of my community and get ready for unparalleled sports experience. Let's do this.
So I think it was Chuck Knox, and his first season he was 9-7. In his second season he was 12-4.
That's what it was. 9-7. That was the season when they made it all the way to the AFC Championship. I think that was AFC Championship, and then they lost to the Raiders. I think that's what it was. I mean, let me
Yeah.
check on that too. I want to see how
Because
this.
before that they had two different coaches. It looks like they had a coach. The season before that they were 4-3 with one coach, Mike McCormick. And they had another coach that same year, which was 0-2. So that was a small season.
So Chuck Knox has the best start for the first 2 seasons in Seahawks history right now.
And Mike
It was
McDonald's on track to potentially could break
to
that.
pass him, yeah. Yeah, it's
and
true.
Look at this. Look at this. Pete Carroll was 7-9 his first 2 seasons, and literally ends up being our most winningest coach. He ends up doing the best for the team, but he starts at 7-9. But back then, our division was so bad, the 7-9 made you playoffs.
It's true. Well, that
So-
is that's there it is for you. So
Yeah.
Mike McDonald is on track to get to making history for the Seahawks, but that's not to worry about right now because we want to see if just Seahawks can just survive against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's gonna do it. And Epic Sea Films, do you have any last minute personal advice?
Don't drink, don't smoke, and have fun.
And go Hawks.
Yep, go Hawks.